Thank you so much for taking the time out to check out this video. All right, my name is Kamoy, and I am so happy that you are remembering yourself, right? Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and jump right on in to this message and this channel transmission that's coming through. We are going to be using the tarot cards, just to clarify and get the tone and the frequency that's coming in. You can think of these readings more as like sacred energy check-in, right? Because right now we're in the quasi era, and this is the era of resonance. It's more about what you are resonating on, right? So last video we talked about resonance physics, right? And you know, in resonance physics, like energy amplifies like energy, right? And we also know that like energy matches like energy, okay? We also know that there is coherence and incoherence in energy frequencies, okay? Now, how does this translate into your day to day life? Simply put, you need to know that everything is energy, which means your words are energy, your thoughts are energy, your feelings are energy. These are all sending out energetic waves, all right? And what we're doing right now is we're building a foundation to the mastery of the 12, okay? Everything, every religion, every system, whether it's a zodiac system, whether it's a religious system, right? Whether it's even a numerical system, there is magic in the 12, okay? And there's a hidden mastery in the 12. The hidden mastery in the 12 is the 3, okay? And the 3 is whether you know it or not, is how you actually press things out into the physical realm, okay? There is science to this, geometry to this. Your words are geometry, they are geometric symbols. So every time you speak a word, so if you, I don't know if you've ever heard of um, cynetics, okay? And in cynetics, they measure sound, right? And also, there's these beautiful sacred geometry patterns that form when you start to pay attention to cynetics. So check that out. Go down the magical hole of remembering. Okay, if you want to understand that more in depth, how your voice, your sound, your words carry a resonance, a frequency, and a vibration. And we're building a foundation, okay? We're going to be building a foundation. We're going to take our time with this. It's probably going to take us a year, okay? But we're building a foundation here where you can learn how to master all the system linked to 12, because this is also accessing your 12 strand DNA. This is why you don't need a guru, okay? Everything you need is inside of you, okay? It's nice to have guides, but at the end of the day, you're the one still responsible for unlocking what's within you, all right? So, bottom of the deck energy before we start the tone is belief system, and not even belief system, it says belief, right? Not belief system, but it says belief. Let me just go ahead and aim that down. And the reason why I'm pointing out this is because when I was doing the pre-shuffle, this is the card that jumped out. All right. This is important as you're moving through this energy in the quasi era, right? Because this is the era of you coming into remembrance, and what you believe or what you know, your inner knowing or your inner gnosis is going to be important as to how you're going to be experiencing reality. Okay, just so you know. So I just wanted to point that out. Not to mention that this is master number 11. All right. And a lot of people, we talk about these angel numbers and stuff, but a lot of you don't know that the number 1 is a masculine energy, right? Masculine energy resonates as logic, decision making, your thoughts, your thinking. So when you see 11, or anybody that says, angel number 1111, just know that you're dealing with masculine energy when you're seeing the number 11, all right? And also know that this energy is an energy that number 1 is the energy that embodies the ego, Okay, so this number in essence, the number one in essence represents the expression of spirit through the ego. So know what you're looking at, right? And what you're giving resonance to, right? When you're tapping into master numbers. This is masculine in energy, all right? And one is the number that spirit uses, okay? Ego uses to embody spirit. I hope I said that right. Okay, one is the number of ego, right, in which spirit express itself. Okay, just some quick numerology for you. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and sound our tones. Okay, and if you are new to the channel, thank you. If you've made it to this far in the video, all right, we're gonna go ahead and set the tone. And you know, my disclaimer used to be these videos are not for everyone, right? And I don't feel like that anymore. Right now, the frequency and the resonance of this channel has shifted also. So these videos are for anyone that finds them, okay? Because you cannot find these videos unless you're resonating on the frequency of 12. If you're seeking higher truth and higher knowledge and you found this video, welcome, okay? Now, with that being said, I do need to set some foundational things here for you, all right? You need to know that these messages for anyone that's vibrating on the frequency of the 12 bandwidth strand, or if you're just tapping into higher consciousness, or you want to say awakening, which is, or ascending, or whatever labels we now give it, you are actually in the phase of remembering who you are. With that being said, you need to know that access is going to be granted to you based on your inner belief system or your inner knowing. So it's very important for you to pay attention to what you're giving resonance to in your belief or your inner knowing. What you think and what you feel are important because they drive the action that you take and then produce the experience, aka the manifestation into matter that you're going to experience. All right, energy is fluid, so I can say that this is your energy, but if it feels more like the energy you're interacting with, you want to go ahead and place the energy where it needs to be. Right, I do want to say this also with the energy being fluid, take accountability for your shit. Like if you know this is you and you need to work on you, like work on you, okay? Because you cannot, you're only going to see the reflection and expression of what's truly going on internally. And sometimes that internal work don't, it can be heavy, right? Because it's a lot of denseness. It's a lot of density in walking in truths that's not yours, walking in expectations that's not yours, holding expectation for other people that's not theirs, right? So just know that, all right? And last but not least, you do need to know this. Like if your only takeaway from this video is you are your own guru, you need to know that, okay? You are your own guru. You do not need anybody outside of you to tap into your spirituality, your sovereignty. It helps to have a community of like-minded people, right? But at the end of the day, you're the one responsible for doing your own inner work, all right? Now, we're going to begin. Before we get into the reading, we're going to set the tone and clear the energy, all right? Clear the field, any static in the atmosphere. So I am going to sound 4 tones. The first tone is going to be for air energy, the element of air. We deal with the 4 elements here. You're going to learn all about that within the next year as we build a foundation, okay? This is just foundational work. This is stuff that you need to know before you start tapping into your technology, because you are the ancient technology and there is a way for you to work it, okay? All right, the first tone is going to be air energy for the air element. That represents your thoughts, your thinking, okay? The next tone is going to be for water element. That represents your emotions, your feelings, and your intuition. The next tone is going to be for fire element, which represents your action or movement, all right? And the last tone is going to be for the earth element, which represents matter, experience, or manifestation, all right? Now, with that being said, if you hear a 5th tone, that is because one of the tones were off balance, okay? So if I feel any of the tones is off balance or I feel static coming through the tone, you will hear me sound that tone again, all right? Now, as I'm sounding the tone, there is a reason why I'm doing all of this, okay? As I'm sounding the tone, what I need you to do is pay attention to your body. I want you to relax your body, including your shoulders, your jaws, your cheekbones, okay? Your armpits, your stomach, your belly button, your groin, your pelvic floor, your kneecaps, your calf muscles, your ankles, and even your toes. All right. I want you to relax your whole body. And as you're relaxing your body, I want you to pay attention to where you feel the tightness and the heaviness. Okay. And that is where you want to go ahead and maybe channel this message. All right. Because these are chakra systems in your body that's going to tell you exactly what is going on within your own internal technology. All right. Now, here we go. First tone. Third tone. Fourth tone. Ooh, that last one hit y'all. Okay. All of that was really, really clear. Okay. So, you know, the bottom of the deck before I shuffled was belief. Okay. So now we're going to see how that tone shifts the energy for this message. All right. Now, keeping in mind, words carry tonal resonance and vibration. So your words matter, all right? Keep in mind also that we're dealing right now with the science that you carry, your own internal technology that you carry, all right? This video is going to be about your own understanding of resonance physics, which is light frequency amplifies each other and energy matches energy, okay? Now, we got two cards that jumped out. Authority and magic. Didn't I say something about magic earlier where I said you're going to have to tap into your own technology? What we call magic is really your own internal technology. We just call it magic. But if you know the technology and you know how your system works, it wouldn't be technology. There's a science to this. Right? There was once a time when science and spirituality was one and the same. They went hand in hand. All right? There was once a time when we had grid workers that were able to come in and balance the emotional energy and balance the energy of the thoughts, the solar grid. So what we would consider to be the masculine energy, balance the feminine energy. We literally had people on Earth that were grid workers. Okay, whether it was from the Melchizedek lineage or the Sybil lineage. Okay, or the black priestesses. I'm sorry, the black prophetess. Right, lineage. Those were all ancient lineages that dealt with the ancient technology, aka your temple, aka your body, aka your nervous system, as well as a nervous system grid of the earth, and as well as the nervous system grid of the cosmos. Okay. Now, with that being said, let's just go ahead and tap in to what the tone of this message is. Authority. All right. It says here that authority, the frequency of authority reminds us that we are true authority. Let me start that over. You know, I'll be up on here, y'all, trying to read this stuff without making sure my glasses is on or and cleaned and stuff. So let's try this differently again, okay? All right, authority. The frequency of authority reminds us that true authority is powerful, direct, and realized, yet receptive, wise, and loving. I'm going to say that again. Authority. The frequency of authority reminds us that true authority is powerful, direct, and yet realized, receptive, wise, and loving. You know, this puts me in the mind of you don't have to force anything, especially in this energy that we're in right now. It's really an energy of allowing to the flow, just allowing the energy to flow, right? And it's the same thing why I asked you to take a breath and see where your energy lands in your body, because we're walking around with a lot of tightness and a lot of tension, right? Because you're expecting the next thing to hit. You're expecting something. You're constantly on guard for what that next hit is going to be, for what that next life be life and thing is going to be, whether it's family, whether it's job, whether it's money, whether it's, whatever insecurities, right? You're waiting for that next thing to hit. So your body's constantly in this state of tension. It's tense. When you're moving in true authority, right? Whether you call it spiritual authority, walking into your sovereignty, there is a softness that comes with that because you don't have to force anything, right? There is an understanding that it's okay to walk away from what's not in your resonance field. There is an understanding to not feel bad when things, right, that other people are experiencing is not unfolding in your reality like that, because that's not what you're resonating on. There is something that happens when you begin to understand that there is an inner authority happening within you, like your cells in your body actually have the intelligence and the wisdom to do what's needed in your own body, your temple, the ancient technology. And that all starts with you understanding first what the resonance physical laws are. So if you're walking around tense all of the time, right, because you're frustrated at whatever the frustration is, what that tells the universe is that you need more frustration. If you're walking around more relaxed, what that says to the universe is, oh, we can send you more experiences where you can sink into this. Because what did we say? Resonance law of physics says that like is going to amplify like attract like. It's no more like opposites attracting this energy that we're in. The only opposites that's going to be attracting is the opposites that's within you. So let me break that down for you. If you are out here and you are vibing on a mentality of lack, but you're walking around saying that you prosperous, but really in your internal you still have that doctrine that you got to be suffering to be holy. You can't really attract the type of abundance that can really come through for you without you getting into challenges of lack. The authority frequency really has to do with your internal mechanics of how you think. And how you think has a lot to do with how much tension you put on your body, on your nervous system. All right, so let's move on to the next tone of vibration for this message. Okay, it's magic. You are the magic. You are the magic. The frequency of magic supports intrinsic ability to grow and expand beyond this moment, to move towards possibilities and expressions that are as grand and profound as we can imagine. All that is required is our belief in their manifestation. I just said that. You can't, universal law, you can't have what you don't think you're worthy of having. You can't have what you don't believe you can have. So the energy that's looping right here is you don't have to be forceful. You can allow things to flow in. You can allow things to flow out. Whatever you try to hold on to too tightly, nothing can get in and nothing can get out, right? So there has to be a flow. The tone of this message is allow things to flow in and flow out, realizing you can't just give. You also have to be open to receive. Realizing that you are the magic that supports all of your experiences. Some of you have been giving your magic away to relationships, right? Being frustrated that you're not seen, being frustrated that you're not heard, being frustrated that you're looked over, being frustrated that you're taken advantage of. But my question to you is, have you been hearing yourself? Have you been forcing and not allowing authority from within to flow? Have you been realizing your power within? Your power to know that you are enough. Your power to be able to transmute every painful experience and allow it to have wisdom that's locked in it. Allow it to have you to be able to embrace the love that you first gave to another, to be able to give that to yourself, because you are the magic. You are what you've been seeking for all of this time. And when you realize that, you begin to vibrate, aka resonate in that field, and then you really begin to attract the experiences that you want. You really do. Some of you out here have been by yourself for a really, really long time. And I don't know who this message is for directly, but it's time for you to think differently about partnerships, relationships, love. It's time for you to stop dwelling over how you sacrifice for other people, and that love and that acknowledgement that you want from others. It's time for you to give it to yourself, because you are amazing. You got some shit with you too, but you're amazing. You know, it's like I always say, even on my worst day, I'm still freaking amazing. Right? Even on my worst day. Because I always choose to move in love first. So even though you have your quirks about you, you're still amazing, but you need to change your perception and how you view partnerships and relationships, and maybe how you place expectations on people that they cannot meet. It is not somebody's job to love your inner child. It is not somebody's job to protect your inner child. Now, what you can look for in your partnerships and your relationships, however, is someone where you feel safe to allow your inner child to come out, laugh, play, be sad, ask questions, unpack insecurities. So you want a relationship or a partnership or a safe space where you can do that, but it's not anybody's job to love your inner child, to heal your inner child. So you going into a relationship, if you're a woman, and expecting a man to love you the way that your dad didn't, that's unfair. Unfair to that man. You going into a relationship as a man and expecting this woman to be your mother? Or to take whatever anger you have at your mom and place it on her, and she's supposed to carry that burden on that weight? That's unfair. It's unfair for you to think that man should carry that weight of your father, and it's unfair for you to think that woman should carry the weight of your mother. It's unfair. And a lot of people can run down to you, baby, like, okay, well, you know, my mom did this, my dad did this, and this is why I'm like this, and this is why I'm like this. But okay, yeah, but now you're 35. Now you're 45. Now you're 50. Now you're freaking 60. But you're still using that as an excuse to be toxic, to be manipulated. No. Not in this energy, not anymore. You are responsible for nurturing, healing, loving, protecting your own inner child. What you seek for in a partner, in partnerships and in relationships, is spaces where you can be safe to do that. That's what you should be seeking for. And the first space that needs to be safe enough for you to do that is your space with yourself. The space that you create for self. Whose authority are you walking by? Are you walking by your inner authority? Are you walking by the authority of expectations that you have been placing in other people, or expectation that you have placed on yourself, or expectation that others has placed on you? Some of you have expectations like you have New Year's resolutions. The only expectation you should have is an expectation to be your authentic self. And can I just tell you, like, I'm forever learning. Every day I learn something new about myself. And I'm really on this path now of, I don't discover so much of my past life. I told you guys I had a Kundalini awakening, and it's still happening. Like, I'm still going through that phase of having to, allow that energy to rise. And the things that I'm remembering is freaking amazing. And, I I have to take it all in before I start sharing because it's a lot, and it explains a lot. It explains so much about myself. And that came from being able to spend time with myself. So the tone is, whose authority are you walking in? Whose magic are you operating in, really? Are you operating in your magic, or are you operating in somebody else's magic? This whole thing is magic. Spelling or spells. Your words create things. Words are energy. Words are sacred geometry. All right. The looping energy that's coming through here is healing. We just talked about that. I love when the cards verify that. The looping energy is healing. I love when the cards verify that. You are responsible for your own healing. And you cannot meet somebody that's healed and have a lovely relationship if you are not on your path of healing. And think that that relationship is going to be sustained. Someone really that's healed and that has, been on their path of healing, they're not entertaining people that's on their BS. They're not. They're not. How this energy is unfolding. You got support here. And can I just tell you, 3 is a triad number. This is a number of manifestation. Okay? That's the number of manifestation. You have so much wonderful energy here supporting you. So much wonderful energy here supporting you. But you got to take the authority from external to internal. Create your own reality. Okay, Archangel Gabriel, this really explains everything we've been talking about. This is about the ability to manifest a new life. You've moved into a higher level of being self-aware because you've tapped into a space of healing and creating that sacred space for you. This is about understanding motives and purpose, people's purpose and people's motive for stuff. But more so, I want to say your motives or your purpose for why you do things. Paying attention to synchronicities. This is a heightened level of intuition here. And this is what happens when you begin to heal. Your intuition becomes heightened. You should be spot on. Because remember, resonant physics lets us know that what? Energy matches energy. Like energy attracts like energy. And like energy is also going to amplify like energy. It's going to amplify it. This is why you can find groups of people, how they say birds of feathers flock together. Declare how you want your next now moment to look. Decide one thing that you can take authority on today. This is an internal thing we're talking about. Now, there's going to be pressed out on the external work, but we're talking about the internal work here. Go in and create from the landscape within. Use your imagination to create beautiful things. Just like you could use your imagination to create a whole bunch of messed up things, you can use your imagination to create a whole bunch of beautiful things. Your imagination is the gateway to everything. You use your imagination all day, every day. Meditation is highly imaginative. And remember, we did this in the last video, right? You meditate all day, every day. Whether you're meditating on how the bills are going to get paid, when the bills are going to get paid, when you're going to find love, who's cheating, who's not cheating, what these kids going on, what these kids don't got going on, whatever it is that you repeat throughout the day, positive or negative, that's meditation. That is where you're putting your focus. That is where you're setting your intention. That is where you're sending out your frequency. That is the resonance that you're vibrating from. So therefore, you would find whatever you're meditating on, good or bad, more of that has to come into your field. Now, sometimes it gets maybe discouraging when you're trying to renew your mind and reprogram yourself, and you get up every day and you do your breathing exercise, and things just feel like they're taking a long time, and the only process here, okay, the only process here that takes a long time is for you to be able to really feel the experience, right? Because every time something comes and triggers you, you get kicked out of that feeling. And if you can't hold that feeling frequency, which is the resonance, if you can't hold that long enough, right? If you can't hold that frequency long enough, the manifestation is going to take a little longer to get here. Let me explain that to you. So remember the 4 tones that we ran. Right? The 4 tones that we ran. First tone, your thoughts. Second tone, your emotions. So if the thoughts keep going back to why things are not going to work out, and emotions is then going to follow the thoughts, right? But you done sat and meditated for 20, 25 minutes about all of the beautiful things, right? But then you still have to go through a whole 23.5-hour day where you may not be in a meditative space where you can sit and be more of an observer, but I'm telling you, meditate all day. So there are ways around for you to be able to keep yourself in that state of imagination where you are creating your now moment every now. Put something in your ear that's positive. Put on a positive podcast that reminds you. Play some music that gravitates towards what you really want to experience. Stop watching the shade room if that's something, like little things like that. I'm not saying, and really and truly, if you're watching these videos, the shade room and all of that stuff, you may not be able to take those type of things in high dosage. You may spot check every now and then because something pop across your timeline, but this is not something that you're going to be tapping into every day, because that's just not